What if the greatest trap in modern society isn't pain? What if it's pleasure? We live in a world where pleasure is the ultimate pursuit, the one thing everyone craves, the thing we're taught will make us happy, fulfilled, free. But what if this pursuit is the very thing that enslaves us? Aldous Huxley, a man who saw the future with chilling clarity, warned us about a world where pleasure becomes the tool of control. A world not governed by fear, but by the promise of endless satisfaction. In his dystopian novel Brave New World, Huxley created a society where humans were kept in check, not through oppression or violence, but through a constant stream of pleasure. People were pacified, not by force, but by the allure of distraction, entertainment, and indulgence. What if I told you that this world is no longer just fiction? What if the chains Huxley warned us about are already here, but they're hidden in plain sight? In every product we buy, every click we make, every moment we spend scrolling on social media, we are living in a pleasure matrix, a system designed to keep us distracted and compliant. The problem is, most of us don't even realize it. We think we're free because we have choices. We think we're liberated because we can consume and consume. But what if this is the illusion? What if instead of freedom we're trading it for comfort? What if pleasure itself has become the silent prison? What if we're already living in Huxley's dystopia and we don't even realize it? Imagine a world where everything you desire is within reach. A world where pleasure flows effortlessly. A world where your every whim is satisfied before it's even fully realized. It sounds like freedom, doesn't it? But what if the greatest illusion of freedom is the one that comes wrapped in comfort, gratification, and pleasure? In Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, this is the reality the citizens live in. A society where pleasure is the tool of control, where people aren't oppressed through fear or violence, but through a constant stream of sensory pleasure. Sex, drugs, entertainment, all are used to pacify the masses, to distract them from the deeper truths of their existence. The citizens of Huxley's world live their lives in a state of constant stimulation, their emotions regulated by a drug called soma, which dulls any discomfort or dissatisfaction. Now look around. Our world is not so different. The pleasure matrix is already here, but it's hidden in plain sight. Consumerism, media, and technology have replaced soma. We live in a world where the pursuit of pleasure is the highest ideal, the ultimate goal of our existence. We are sold pleasure at every turn, through ads, products, and even social media feeds. Happiness is no longer an internal experience, it's a transaction. Buy this product, get this feeling, click this link, feel this rush. We're taught that if we buy the right things, have the right experiences, consume the right media, we will be happy. The idea that fulfillment comes from the outside is so ingrained in us that we don't even question it anymore. The pursuit of pleasure, of constant gratification, has become the default setting for modern life. But here's the catch. The more we chase pleasure, the further we drift from true fulfillment, because pleasure, when pursued relentlessly, never satisfies. It's a fleeting high, a brief moment of satisfaction, followed by the hunger for more. It replaces deeper, meaningful life experiences with shallow distractions, leaving us perpetually hungry, but never nourished. What Huxley foresaw in Brave New World is the illusion of freedom through pleasure. In his vision, people weren't controlled by the fear of punishment, but by the very thing they craved: pleasure. And that, my friends, is the ultimate mechanism of control. In today's world, we are kept distracted, numb, and compliant by our endless need for pleasure. What we fail to realize is that the cycle we've been trained to crave, the constant search for the next dopamine hit, is a chain. It's a cycle we don't even recognize as a prison, because it feels so good in the moment. But it keeps us from the deeper questions, the uncomfortable truths, the journey toward true meaning and fulfillment. The pleasure matrix isn't just external, it's internal. We've internalized the idea that pleasure equals freedom, that happiness can be purchased, that our lives are defined by what we consume. We've learned to crave these fleeting pleasures, to need them, even if they leave us emptier with each passing day. And in this craving, we surrender our freedom without even realizing it. We think we're in control, but we're actually slaves to the very thing that we believe sets us free. So let me ask you this. What if we're not as free as we think we are? What if the pursuit of pleasure, this constant gratification, is the very thing that's keeping us trapped? And what if true freedom lies not in the endless chase for pleasure, but in the courage to live without it? In a world that constantly tells us to pursue pleasure, to seek out comfort, to chase the next high, we've lost sight of something essential. We've mistaken comfort for happiness. We've been conditioned to believe that the more we indulge, the more we consume, the more we feel good, the closer we are to fulfilling our deepest desires. But what if I told you that comfort is the greatest lie we've ever been sold? Pleasure, in its infinite forms, has become the ultimate currency of modern life. From instant gratification in the form of social media likes, to consumer products, to the constant search for pleasure through food, entertainment, and experiences, we have become slaves to comfort. And in doing so, we've lost something far more profound: the pursuit of purpose, the pursuit of meaning, the pursuit of growth, the pursuit of something that challenges us, pushes us, makes us uncomfortable, but ultimately shapes us into better, more resilient human beings. Huxley warned us in Brave New World that the pursuit of immediate pleasure, the relentless chase for comfort and gratification, undermines our deeper need for meaning. He argued that we can't live fully unless we confront the discomfort that comes with struggle, challenge, and growth. But modern society tells us the opposite. It tells us that happiness is the absence of pain, the absence of struggle, and that the pursuit of pleasure will fill the void. The problem is, it doesn't. It only deepens it. Pleasure, in its constant pursuit, leaves us emptier and more disconnected from ourselves. It's a false sense of fulfillment, a distraction from the real work of self-discovery and personal growth. Think about it. How many of us turn to the comforts of entertainment when we feel empty? How often do we binge on food, scroll endlessly through social media, or indulge in consumer goods to fill a void we can't name? But why? Because we're running from something that discomfort, challenge, and real work might help us confront. The more we seek comfort, the more we avoid the uncomfortable truths about ourselves. We've been taught that comfort equals happiness, but we've forgotten that it's through discomfort, struggle, and challenge that we find meaning. This mistake isn't just philosophical, it's psychological. Studies show that when people seek constant pleasure and avoid discomfort, they face deeper psychological issues like depression, anxiety, and loneliness. The search for instant gratification hijacks the brain's reward system, leaving us stuck in a cycle of short-term pleasure and long-term dissatisfaction. The more we chase immediate comfort, the more we lose sight of what truly brings fulfillment, purpose, growth, and connection. History has shown us the consequences of overindulgence. Look at ancient Rome, a civilization that at its peak was built on pleasure, excess, and indulgence. The Romans indulged in every form of hedonism, from lavish feasts to brutal gladiatorial games. Yet, despite their wealth and comfort, Rome fell, rotting from the inside. The very pleasures they sought destroyed the sense of unity, purpose, and stability that once held their empire together. Or take the Weimar Republic, a period of extreme decadence in Germany before the rise of Hitler. People sought pleasure through excess, consumed by fleeting joys that distracted them from the political and societal instability around them. Eventually, the lack of meaning and the focus on superficial pleasure led to a breakdown of the social fabric, allowing extreme ideologies to take root. And today, we're facing similar consequences. People are more connected than ever, but lonelier than ever. We're addicted to instant gratification, yet we feel empty inside. We live in a world of constant pleasure, but struggle with deeper issues of existential loneliness, depression, and a lack of direction. We have everything we could possibly want, and yet we are left asking, is this all there is? The true cost of comfort is the loss of purpose. The true cost of pleasure is the abandonment of growth, and the true cost of living for the moment is a life devoid of meaning. What if instead of running from discomfort, we embraced it? What if instead of chasing the next pleasure, we sought purpose? something that makes us uncomfortable but makes us grow? What if by facing our struggles, we could finally become the people we are meant to be? In the end, the real question is this: are you living for comfort, or are you living for meaning? We live in a world where pleasure isn't just a pursuit, it's a product manufactured, marketed, and sold to us by the very systems that shape our lives. Media and consumerism have become the machinery behind the pleasure matrix, keeping us locked in an endless loop of desire, consumption, and satisfaction. But as the world becomes increasingly saturated with distractions, the question becomes, who are we really? And more importantly, who is controlling us? Imagine this: every time you pick up your phone, scroll through a social media feed, or watch a commercial, you're not just engaging with content, you're engaging with a carefully crafted system designed to create and feed your desires. Advertisers, influencers, corporations, they don't just sell products. They sell the illusion of happiness, the promise of fulfillment, and we buy into it. The question is, why? Modern consumerism is built on the psychology of desire, a psychological mechanism that drives us to want, to seek, to consume. It's not enough to buy something once. The system is designed to make you want more, to need more. It plays on our emotions, our insecurities, our longing for connection, for validation. With every click, every swipe, every purchase, we are drawn deeper into the matrix. Social media platforms, designed to hook us with their algorithms, serve as the perfect example. Likes, shares, and comments provide us with dopamine, a chemical in our brain that rewards us for seeking pleasure. But this isn't a coincidence. It's a carefully engineered cycle of gratification and craving, a cycle that is now referred to as the dopamine economy, where our attention, our time, and our desires are commodified. In Huxley's Brave New World, people were given free access to pleasure, but at the cost of their autonomy, their individuality, and their ability to think critically. They were kept pacified by a steady stream of distractions, numbed by pleasure, until they were no longer capable of true freedom. Because freedom, in Huxley's world, meant the ability to think for yourself, to seek purpose, to challenge the system. The same is happening today. We are bombarded by endless advertisements, influencers pushing products, and algorithms tailoring content to keep us hooked, constantly chasing the next hit of satisfaction. Our lives are curated for us, shaped by brands, by what we see on our screens, by what is deemed desirable. We've become passive consumers, but the irony is that we think we're in control. We think we're choosing freely, but in reality, we're trapped in a system of manufactured desire. Take social media, for instance. It's a platform that thrives on FOMO, the fear of missing out. We're constantly comparing ourselves to others, measuring our self-worth by the likes, comments, and followers we have. And this sense of inadequacy, this constant desire to keep up, feeds right into the hands of the pleasure matrix. Because the more we crave validation, the more we consume, and the more we consume, the more we're controlled. In this world of constant stimulation, where everything is designed to grab our attention, to make us feel good in the moment, we lose sight of what truly matters. We're sold the promise of happiness, but it's not a promise that can ever be kept, because the pleasure we're offered is shallow, fleeting, and ultimately unfulfilling. And so we chase it again and again and again, caught in an endless loop of desire and distraction. But here's the real question: who controls us more? The system we live in, or the desires we feed? Do we truly control our choices, or are we merely reacting to the system that's been built to guide us, to manipulate us into constantly wanting more? The truth is that we've become prisoners of our own desires. The pleasure matrix isn't something that's done to us from the outside. It's something we've willingly embraced, something we've learned to crave, and every time we give in, we lose a little more of our freedom. So I ask you again, who controls you? The system, or the desires you've been trained to have? What if the greatest chains in our modern world aren't made of steel, but of desire? What if the very thing we seek to free us, to bring us joy, is the thing that keeps us trapped? Aldous Huxley warned us that in a world where people are free to chase pleasure, we would become ripe for control. But the true tragedy lies not in external forces, but in how we've internalized our own enslavement. We've come to believe that happiness is a commodity, something that can be bought, consumed, or achieved. The pleasure matrix has conditioned us to want more, need more, until we no longer know who we are without it. The pursuit of pleasure, in all its forms, promises freedom, but what it delivers is a new form of enslavement, one that we willingly submit to. We've been sold the lie that happiness is within reach, that a better car, a new gadget, more likes, more followers, more experiences will fill the void inside us. We believe that if we can just consume the right things, we'll finally be content. But the truth is far darker. Pleasure, rather than serving as a release, becomes the very thing that holds us captive. Every click, every scroll, every purchase is a chain that pulls us further into the matrix. A matrix that, instead of offering liberation, offers addiction. Psychologically, we know this is true. Studies have shown that the constant pursuit of pleasure rewires the brain. Our brains, designed for balance, are overwhelmed by the constant flood of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. Every time we get a notification, a like, or an affirmation, our brains release dopamine, creating a cycle of craving and consumption. But with each hit, the threshold for satisfaction rises. What once satisfied us no longer does. We need more, we need faster, we need something else. This rewiring of the brain makes it harder to experience real contentment, stillness, or joy. The more we chase pleasure, the more we erode our ability to be present, to find joy in the simple moments. We are constantly looking for the next high, the next thing, the next hit of pleasure. And as we chase these fleeting moments of happiness, we miss out on what really matters. The existential cost of living a life in pursuit of pleasure is profound. We disconnect from our purpose, from our deeper values, from the things that give our lives meaning. Instead of living in alignment with who we are, we live in alignment with what we think we need to buy, own, or experience. The real pain of this is the rise of anxiety and depression, a result of living in a world where meaning is replaced by consumption. We no longer know how to face discomfort, because we've been taught to avoid it at all costs. Every time we feel uneasy, we numb it, with food, with screens, with shopping, with anything that provides instant gratification. The result is emotional fragility, an inability to cope with life's inevitable challenges. We've traded emotional resilience for the pursuit of fleeting pleasure. We are now a society of people who cannot sit in silence, who cannot be alone with their thoughts, who cannot face the discomfort of just being present. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can choose to break free. We can choose to stop seeking pleasure as the answer to our problems. We can choose to face discomfort, to challenge ourselves, and to rediscover the deeper sense of meaning and fulfillment that lies beyond instant gratification. The real question is, when will we realize that we are not free, but trapped in our own desires? We've explored the depths of the pleasure matrix, its intoxicating grip on society, and the way it shapes our desires, our choices, our very identities. But now it's time to ask, what does it take to break free, to escape the matrix, to step out of the cycle of endless gratification and distraction? Is it even possible? The answer lies not in seeking more pleasure, but in choosing something deeper. What if true freedom doesn't come from the pursuit of comfort, but from embracing discomfort? What if instead of running from the challenges and struggles of life, we chose to face them? What if instead of seeking pleasure at every turn, we chose purpose over pleasure? This is the idea of conscious resistance. It's the decision to reject the distractions that society feeds us, and to instead choose the difficult, the uncomfortable, and the meaningful. It's the choice to say, I will no longer be controlled by the pleasure-seeking cycle. I will take control of my life. Conscious resistance doesn't mean rejecting all pleasure. It means prioritizing purpose over pleasure. It means choosing to engage with life in a way that aligns with our deeper values and desires, not the ones that are constantly marketed to us. Throughout history, there have been individuals who resisted the pull of consumerism, media, and instant gratification, and in doing so, they found lives of greater fulfillment and authenticity. Take someone like Steve Jobs, who resisted the temptation of fast-paced consumerism and instead focused on creating something meaningful, something with purpose. Or think of authors like Viktor Frankl, who found deeper meaning in the concentration camps during WWE, not through pleasure, but through a purposeful relationship with suffering. These individuals weren't driven by fleeting comforts. They chose to live for something deeper. Huxley, too, in his later works, spoke about the necessity of consciousness, of becoming aware of the forces that manipulate us, of seeing beyond the pleasure matrix. He emphasized that the only way to break free from these controls is through self-awareness. By recognizing that we are being shaped by external forces, we can regain control and shape our own destiny. The question now is, what do you truly want from life? Do you want to continue chasing pleasure, numbing yourself with endless distractions, hoping that the next hit will finally bring you contentment? Or do you want to live a life of purpose, a life where every challenge, every struggle, and every moment of discomfort is an opportunity for growth? True freedom isn't about escaping pain or seeking constant pleasure. True freedom comes from embracing all that life has to offer: the beauty and the struggle, the joy and the pain, the pleasure and the meaning. It comes from facing the world with clear eyes, unclouded by the illusion of pleasure. Pleasure may be easy, but real power comes from choosing something deeper. Choose purpose, choose meaning, choose to live authentically, free from the matrix that's been built around you, and in doing so, reclaim your freedom. The road won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Break free, embrace the struggle, and find the freedom that can only come from living a life of true meaning.